France, the birthplace of revolt. France isn't just famous for croissants and art. It's the world's revolution factory. From 1789 to the mid-1900s, the country flipped governments like changing outfits. It all started when the people had enough of royal luxury and empty stomachs. Paris streets filled with anger, the Bastille fell, and heads, literally, rolled. The monarchy was out, then back, then out again. Empires rose and fell, republics collapsed, and Napoleon tried to rule the world. By 1871, even after decades of blood and reform, Paris sparked the Commune, a radical workers' uprising that lasted only 2 months before being crushed. Still, its ideas spread everywhere. Equality, secularism, power to the people. France's repeated chaos built the blueprint for modern democracy. Every French Revolution reset the country and inspired others to do the same. And next up, another empire would take that lesson and explode from within Russia. Russia, the empire that collapsed twice. Russia didn't just have a revolution, it had two in 1 year. 1917. The Tsar ruled a massive empire stretched across 11 time zones. But soldiers were dying in World War I, food was gone, and people were done kneeling. First came the February Revolution, crowds stormed Petrograd, soldiers mutinied, and Tsar Nicholas II quit. Then came October, the Bolsheviks, led by Lenin, pushed out the weak provisional government. The red flag went up, the hammer and sickle became symbols, and a civil war tore the country apart. By the time it ended, millions were dead and the Soviet Union was born. But even that didn't last. Fast forward to 1991, communism fell, the USSR dissolved overnight, and 15 new countries appeared on the map. Russia had reinvented itself again, only to keep wrestling with its past. Power in Russia never fades quietly, and across the sea, another giant was preparing its own storm, China. China, from dynasties to Mao. China's revolutions came like earthquakes, slow pressure, then total destruction. The Qing dynasty ruled for nearly 300 years until corruption, famine, and foreign invasion broke it apart. In 1911, the Xinhai Revolution ended over 2,000 years of imperial rule. But instead of peace, chaos followed warlords, Japanese invasion, and a brutal civil war. By 1949, Mao Zedong's communists defeated Chiang Kai-shek's nationalists, who fled to Taiwan. The People's Republic of China was born. Mao promised equality, but unleashed terror through the Cultural Revolution, millions persecuted, history erased, schools turned into propaganda machines. Still, out of that chaos came transformation. After Mao's death, China opened up, industrialized, and became a global powerhouse. Yet, control remained tight. A modern system built on old revolutionary roots. From China's ancient emperors to Mao's Red Book, revolution became part of its identity. And in the Middle East, another nation was about to flip its world upside down. Iran, from Shahs to streets. Iran's story is fire and faith colliding. In the 1970s, Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi ran the country like a Western palace, wealth, oil, and secret police. But under the surface, people were boiling, clerics, students, and the poor united under one voice. Ayatollah Khomeini. But it's not true. By 1979, protests filled every city. The Shah fled. The Islamic Revolution tore down the monarchy and built a theocracy. Crowds cheered. The U.S. embassy was seized, and Iran's new identity was born. Islamic, defiant, and deeply political. But even decades later, the tension never ended. Each generation faces the same question: religion or freedom? In 2009, and again in 2022, streets filled with chants demanding change. Every crackdown only deepened the divide. Iran's revolution didn't just change a government, it changed the idea of power itself. And that idea would soon inspire resistance much closer to America in Cuba. Cuba, the island that fought back. Tiny island, huge rebellion. In the 1950s, Cuba was a playground for the rich, casinos, corruption, and U.S. influence everywhere. Then came Fidel Castro, a lawyer turned guerrilla fighter, hiding in the Sierra Maestra Mountains with a few dozen rebels. By 1959, Batista's dictatorship collapsed. Castro rolled into Havana like a hero, but soon, his revolution turned socialist, then communist, cutting ties with the US and teaming up with the Soviet Union. The Bay of Pigs invasion failed, and the Cuban Missile Crisis nearly started World War III. Decades of embargo, poverty, and propaganda followed. Yet despite everything, Cuba stayed defiant. Even after Fidel's death, the revolutionary spirit still fuels protests, and the dream of freedom never fades. But revolutions don't always end with freedom. Some just spin in circles, like Egypt's. Egypt, the revolution that went in circles. Egypt's revolution started with hope and smartphones. In 2011, inspired by the Arab Spring, millions filled Tahrir Square shouting "Leave" at President Hosni Mubarak, who'd ruled for 30 years. Within 18 days, he was gone. A new era began briefly. The elections brought Mohamed Morsi, the first democratically elected president, but protests flared again. In 2013, the military stepped in, removed Morsi, and power shifted back to the generals. Today, Egypt looks almost like before 2011. Strong military, silenced opposition, and an uneasy calm. The revolution promised change but ended up looping back to control. Still, every protest, every chant, left a mark on how Egyptians see power. Revolutions never really end, they just pause. And that's just part of the story. From France to Egypt, revolutions rewrote nations, but they didn't stop there. Across the world, people kept fighting for change. In Haiti, enslaved people shattered an empire. In Mexico, farmers and rebels forced freedom into existence. Every uprising, every voice, pushed history forward, proving that no system lasts forever. The real question isn't when revolutions happen, but why they never stop.